Welcome to another episode of The Carpool Critics, where "the" is important. My name is Nicholas.
My name is Jessica.
My name is Donna Mae.
And we just actually left the theater of seeing the live action of The Lion King. It was good, I would say. It's pretty much, if you haven't seen the 90s cartoon version of it, how dare you?
Shame.
That is by far an all-time classic that has to be seen. But if you haven't, it's basically the story of a young cub, Simba, and his trials and tribulations of growing up and becoming the king of the Pride Lands.
Basically following his father's footsteps.
Yeah, pretty much. But that's all we really need to know. If you're a fan of The Lion King and you just want to see it, I recommend it.
I recommend it. If you like animation or like the CG stuff, I would definitely see this film.
How about you, Don? Would you recommend it?
I'm a die-hard Lion King fan. I'm alright with it.
Well, I want to get more in depth of what your thoughts of the movie. But yeah, that's pretty much what we have non-spoiler wise. But right now we're going to get more in depth into the movie and what we liked about, what we didn't like about, and just enjoy the ride. So I want to go in and start off with you, Donna. What did you think about this movie? I really want to know about that.
It definitely hit all the good points of the original. I'm sure we'll go into touch on comparison between the original and the live action, and that's what happens when they remake these movies. They did really good. There are some points where I feel like it kind of just fell for me.
Fell flat?
Yeah.
In what way?
For one, they changed the names of the hyenas.
Oh.
Don't know
that's
if you guys
right.
caught that. They did not have Ed.
Yeah.
Ed is the silly, goofy guy in the cartoon.
Yeah, it's played by Cheech Marin.
Yes. They changed his name and they changed the way that he was. And I feel like that part in my childhood is just imprinted in my mind. It just was gone in the movie. In this live action, anyways.
So as the person that was sitting next to Donna,
Sorry.
she definitely knows this movie way more than I thought I did. Because she was saying the lines.
I owned the DVD too. And I didn't even watch it before rewatching this live action.
Well, even when Simba's kid gets at the end of the movie, she's like, oh, it's, I don't even know his name. Kiara.
I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it.
But yeah, I was like, oh, that was the name.
Because she's in the second movie.
I know, I never saw the second movie.
Shame.
It's the first one is the classic.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's go back to just the introduction of all the characters and just compare the two.
Well, no, not just the introduction of the characters, but just the introduction, because like with what Donna was saying about her kid self not having Ed, but my kid self definitely got into the movie because it was almost exactly the same as the cartoon, where all the animals are coming and it's the circle of life and they're all coming, and then even with the birds on the trunk of the elephant and the little emu birds that were like running as the rhinoceroses were coming the antelope running, like all of them coming and all the different details of it all, just to get all these animals to get to Pride Rock was really good. And it definitely brought back nostalgia of the movie. Mm-hmm. Just the first 5 minutes of the whole circle of life. And
that was good. I knew what we're kind of in store for, but not until you saw the animation of how lifelike all the animals were. Mm-hmm. was just amazing. It was almost like watching Planet Earth.
Yeah, totally.
That was what I was looking forward to in this movie. Just the complete animation of all the animals.
Oh yeah. One of me and Nicholas's coworkers, we were talking about how one of the things that might be hard for Lion King was showing emotions that kind of reflected from the original cartoon. And most particular part was when Mufasa dies in the cartoon. You could see Simba like sobbing, crying, whereas the live action version kind of lacked emotion for me a little bit. I mean, of course it's an emotional scene, but Simba's emotion kind of just stayed stagnant for me in that scene. Mm-hmm. So I was like, misting. I was not sobbing. That's where it kind of felt short for me a little bit.
I mean, I did cry in that part, but I could see what you're saying. Because I think for me, like, I just went back to that scene in the cartoon, so maybe that's why I was crying.
Yeah.
Versus just...
Like, I've seen Facebook videos of dogs sobbing, crying when you could see their other dog friend pretends dies.
Right.
Like, I've seen more emotion in that versus this live action version.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's a bit sad.
Did you guys catch that the music was the originals?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how they brought that back.
Other than when Beyonce was singing.
Oh, yeah. That was... We'll talk about that.
She's got a very distinctive voice.
Plus, you have to give Beyonce her own song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the person I'm happy that they actually brought back in the film from the original is James Earl Jones as Mufasa.
That made me happy. I almost cried.
Yeah, there is only really one Mufasa.
Oh, it's James Earl Jones. As I've told many people leading up to this movie, he's the voice of Nichols in my childhood.
Yeah.
Because he's the voice of Darth Vader. He's Mufasa. And he's also in The Sandlot. And those were the movies that Nichols and I saw all the time. So to have him come back in The Lion King, it's just, I'm like, it's my childhood all over again.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job, and I'm glad they had that anchor for the movie for him. Going down to the antagonist of Scar, do you know who played Scar in this one?
It was the guy in Doctor Strange, the one...
Chitwell.
Ekafer or something?
We're good.
Yeah, he was in Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah, he was.
Yes.
And he's been in many different things. And
12 Years a Slave.
Right. But I'm and I might be a geek for admitting this, but he was in one of my favorite movies / shows, mostly in the movie, as the antagonist in that one, which is Firefly.
Oh, yeah.
He was in Firefly.
Yeah, remember the movie?
He was a baby.
Serenity.
Oh, yeah.
He was the one that had no feelings and was chasing after the
Yeah, I totally forgot about
So
that.
I was happy when I found out that he was going to be Scar, just because of how he can play that conniving, sociopathic role as a bad guy, which
He played him really well.
Yeah. But compared to Jeremy Irons, that's tough because I'm a fan of Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
No matter what he's in, I like to see, but also.
But Jeremy Irons can do a good villain, too.
Exactly. What did you guys think of Timon and Pumbaa combination?
They stole the show.
Yeah.
It was amazing. That was probably my favorite part, for sure, anytime they spoke.
Yeah, I was worried about, because I was a real fan of Nathan Lane as Timon in the first one, so I didn't know how this guy would take
Seth
it.
Rogen?
No, Billy Eichner.
Yeah,
Really,
sorry.
actually, I don't remember who played Pumbaa in the original one, but I just remember Nathan Lane just being that voice. And
Yeah,
always
Nathan
been
Lane
that voice.
is definitely good as Timon, but Billy Eichner did a good job. And I know, Nicholas, because you were talking to me earlier before we saw the movie that you were a little iffy about Billy Eichner because you only know him from those interviews where he just like runs up to people and starts yelling at them. But I did tell you that he could do it because of American Horror Stories, because he did a really good job in American Horror Stories.
Well, he definitely impressed me in this one, especially his singing. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he already had comedic timing, but just his chemistry with Seth Rogen as that buddy group that they had in this movie.
I feel like there was parts where they were improving, and they
Yeah.
kept that in the movie, and I loved it.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like some of it was improv. One of my favorite scenes too was actually at the end when they're fighting to get Pride Rock back, and they're using Pumbaa as the decoy, and Timon comes out and he starts doing the line from the Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
That was priceless.
I was waiting for him to bust out the hula, though.
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting.
Yeah, but I think with what they did, I think that was...
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
More realistic.
Right.
It is more realistic, but it also shows that this is a different movie.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the voice of Zazu by John Oliver?
I like John Oliver because his main job was to tell the news.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like what he does now.
Yeah. He kind of also has a bird face.
Yeah.
I liked too because he was talking about his cousin. Like at first, when he told the story of his cousin who thought he was a woodpecker, but then when he told it again, he said it was his brother.
Oh yeah. Now going to Donna's childhood with the hyenas.
Yes.
I remember Whoopi Goldberg being the main one.
Mm-hmm.
Senzi. I don't remember who played Senzi or her the like in this one, but I thought she did it okay. But I mean, for me, Whoopi Goldberg is
Whoopi Goldberg did more of like a, I don't know how to describe it.
Whoopi Goldberg was more comedic
Yeah.
with a little bit of that sassy
Scary,
anger, scary. Yeah. This one was just more vindictive and angry and didn't really like her place in the pride, meaning that she was in the shadows and in the elephant boneyard, and she wanted to have a higher place. So it really wasn't more comedy, it was more
Sinister?
sinister. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think the comedy came with Keegan-Michael Key and Eric Andre.
Oh yeah, they were.
Yeah!
They were
What was up with that?
Eric Andre did a really good job.
So
though.
random. This is my bubble. You go over there.
But there are those people though that you're doing something, you're looking, and you're like, why are you standing so freaking close to me? It's the same like when you're in a parking lot and you park your car and then somebody parks right next to you. It's like, why are you parking next to me? You have all of this space. Everybody has that personal bubble.
Now we get to the main two characters, Donald Glover playing Simba, older Simba, and Beyonce playing older Nala. I liked it. I thought they
did good, especially because they did have that duet, right?
Yeah.
That was the both of them. Yeah, they did a good job with that.
I'm glad they got singers for that.
Yeah.
And then, like we said earlier, I don't remember the name of the song that Beyonce sang.
It's called Spirit.
Oh, Spirit? Okay.
No.
She did a really good job while they're running back to Pride Rock to save the day. What about, and I touched on it earlier, I thought the animation was amazing in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Detail. Like, I thought they just filmed in Africa.
Right.
Sometimes. I'm like, I wonder if they just snippet some of the stuff in Africa. And
Well,
just
one
put
of the
it in
cool
there.
things for me that I really appreciated was the stars in the sky,
Oh, yeah.
which sounds a bit weird. So last year, I think I told you, Donna, that I went to Morocco.
Yeah.
And my dad and I and my cousin, we spent the night in the Sahara Desert. And my dad and I, we ended up just staring and looking up at the sky.
Aw.
And it is like that with all those stars, and it's just so brightly lit, and it's amazing. And just to see that, it just brought me back to that moment of me just standing there looking up at the Saharan sky with my dad.
How about when Simba was walking through the dunes of the desert?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have paws, so I sank when I climbed a dune.
Lion.
The lion was just standing on top there, and it made it look very easy, but walking on a dune is not that easy, or walking up to get to the top of the dune is not that easy.
Actually, going back to the paw, I think that was a really cool moment
That was beautiful.
when Simba got in trouble for going into the Badlands, and Mufasa knows he has to correct that wrong in Simba, and while he's waiting for Simba to come to him, Simba steps in his big paw, and you know at that moment that he really has a big paw to fill just to live up to his dad's legacy. And I thought that was really well done with, again, just the animation of that.
There's also when they sing "When the Lion Sleeps Tonight,"
Oh, yeah.
and then
Everybody joins in.
Everybody joins in. You have, in order to get some of the percussion, you have, what is it? The antelope is just kind of
Galloping.
yeah, they're prancing, kind of like getting that going. You have the parrots are clicking. There's what I don't even know what that creature was, but it had like a long horn. So,
Kind of looked like an anteater, but not really.
but it was small. So
Yeah.
I don't really know what it was, but it just like it was making horn
Baby
like
anteater.
Yeah, I was making horn-like noises. One thing that I liked too is when Pumbaa was giving his speech of what happened to him as
Baby
a baby
Yeah.
Pumbaa.
Oh Did you hear
The reaction of Donna was
I wanted it so bad. I want one. A little tiny piggy.
So Pumbaa actually farted.
No, he
He
says
says
farted.
Oh.
in the song.
When they're singing, I'm a sensitive soul. But he actually says farted, and Timon doesn't cut him off. And he goes, "Are you going to cut me off?" And he goes, "Nope, you're on a roll."
See, I thought that part was improv.
No,
And
I
they
thought
just
it was
kept
great.
it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great because in the original cartoon, he
Yeah.
actually gets cut off, and Nathan Lane says, like, "We've got kids" or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's it goes to show how slow I am actually. I can notice details, as you have pointed out, but apparently there are some things that when I hear as a kid, I don't quite get them until I'm older. So I didn't
Yeah.
actually realize until I was late teens that he meant to say farted.
Right. Like Olaf in Frozen, where he's supposed to say puddle.
Yeah.
But,
But he's a happy snowman.
I want to also get to, because I didn't know who directed this.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew off the bat
I didn't know either.
because
And
I saw the trailer.
oh, well,
Doing your homework before.
Hey.
Yeah, he did another good job, and he did another classic one of the Jungle Book. How do you think his comparison of what he directed for this one and the Jungle Book?
The detail in the animation in this one was beyond Jungle Book, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
For sure. Like the little tiny hairs. Like when Simba's hair was like frolicking back to Rafiki.
Uh-huh.
I was like, that's attention to detail. That's literal lion hairs right there. I don't care what you tell me, that's animation.
well, also just the details with the different types of creatures.
Yeah.
Because having that dung beetle
Oh, yeah.
and how he's actually pushing it with his back legs, so he's pretty much walking on his front legs to push this thing back. And just those little details just help you bring into the movie and to make you laugh. The guy that was sitting next to me, there were moments, like, he's an adult and he's just laughing hysterically at things. And when you have those moments where you bring out the child in an adult, you succeed, Jon Favreau.
That's
Yeah.
my motto of life. Be a child as an adult.
Yeah.
Right? You have to embrace those moments.
Absolutely. And what do you guys think of the whole Disney trying to bring back a lot of these classic films into reality? Do you like it? Do you like the other ones, or?
I don't mind it as long as they kind of pretty much stick with the storyline, or I should say the Disney storyline, because I do know that some of them are based off of the Brothers Grimm. But if they kind of stick to it, then I'm fine with it. Like, I'm not saying like who they cast, but just like the basic storyline. But I like when they take little things. So in Cinderella, they show how she lost her mom and her dad. So you know where her storyline comes from. You know why she acts as this good girl that she is because it's something that her mom tells her before she dies. Or with Beauty and the Beast, you see that she was originally from Paris and then she was moved to this town because the plague came and ended up killing her mom, and her dad took her away so she wouldn't get sick. So you have these little details that they add to the storyline to help you understand more of the storytelling, so it doesn't leave it hanging. Because one of the, like, I love Aladdin, that's my favorite, and one of the things that I never quite understood watching the cartoon was the fact that they're in the middle of the desert, but yet he ends up getting thrown into the ocean. And it's like, where the hell did they go? They're in the middle of the desert, but then in the movie they're actually a port city, so him being pushed into the ocean makes total sense, which it's just a minor thing. But when they just have those little changes, I'm okay with, but when they make bigger changes, that's where I'll get a little iffy.
When it comes to live actions, like, I'm not mad at it, but I feel like Disney might just be doing too much of that and not making their new stuff. Like, they're scared of making the new stuff. Like, now they're making sequels, or like Toy Story, where they made 4.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like it's alright. It's cool to, like, relive your childhood. And cool how they make it real. It's nice to see, but they might want to reel back a little bit. I feel like
Yeah.
not make all of them right now.
Yeah, banking on.
No, I get
Yeah.
that. That
banking
makes
on
sense.
past success.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has there been one for you, Donna, that you've been really impressed with?
I mean, Aladdin, I only came in with low expectations. I mean, of course, given the late Robin Williams. Will Smith, of course, amazing actor, amazing comedian. He made his own story. That was me and Jessica were talking about that. So the way that it was made, it definitely exceeded my expectations of it for sure by 100%. I feel like that one might be my favorite live action right now, next to Lion King.
Well, that one has a special place in your heart.
Oh.
So, is there anyone that you're looking forward to see that hasn't been already like kind of teased or trailered?
Yeah, Mulan. Mulan was my first Disney princess I fell in love with, of course, as an Asian girl. It's like, it's amazing. And then, like, given little details and little spoilers of that Mushu's not in the movie and that they're really putting in the actual history of the actual Mulan person rather than the cartoon version, I'm kind of interested in seeing where they go with that.
That'd be interesting. I thought you would choose to see a Lilo and Stitch live action.
I veto that. Veto it, because there's nothing better than the original. Sorry. Even the show. Ooh, what if they did a live action of Big Hero 5? That would be amazing.
What's Big Hero 6?
6, sorry. Oh.
You just want to see Baymax.
I love Baymax.
La, 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 la. We'll just
Well,
go
they
on.
made a cartoon of it. Like, it's a cartoon series.
What?
I
yeah.
did not know that.
I don't have cable. What am I missing on?
Well, going back to Lion King, just to wrap that up, what would you say was your favorite part of the movie that you saw today?
Probably when the lion sleeps tonight. Just the musicality of them bringing all the animals in together to be the music or the instruments for that song. Plus, Nicholas knows that when I was a kid, that was my song that I would randomly sing when I was 5. If you look at home videos, that is what I would randomly sing. So
You just like the Awimaway part.
I did. But yeah, no, that one, and then it's also a good introduction to having Nala come back and having Nala and Simba fight and be angry and then realize that they're actually, it's like, oh wait, no, you're my friend, and then they just start laughing and joking, and it's like no time passed. So just that whole sequence, I thought was really well done.
What about you, Donna? Do you?
For me, it's the part when Rafiki's trying to get Simba to realize who he is.
Oh yeah.
That is, I mean, the most iconic part from the original and now the remake. It did miss out on the live action from the clouds of forming into Mufasa.
Yeah.
But of course, come on, that's not gonna happen in real life, quote unquote.
I was kind of hoping that they would do that. That
Same.
was, yeah.
But still, it was beautiful the way they made it. Still makes Simba realize, like, okay, I'm not this loser.
I was kind of hoping that he would also hit him with his stick,
Yeah.
but that didn't happen either.
Yeah, Rafiki did not use his stick too much in this movie.
Right.
Right.
Just in the beginning and towards the end.
I will say one of the saddest scenes though, and it's still this, like, I will cry no matter if I see it in the cartoon or now in this live action, but when Mufasa dies. I thought they did a really good job on how they portrayed that,
Right.
but it still made me cry, and I was hiding that I was crying. But
I saw you.
Well, actually, I didn't mean that to be my favorite part, but it was because it just brought me back to the little kid in me
Yeah.
of it. Because you think, obviously, you relate to seeing a parent or a loved one go through that just to do what they can to save you, and they hit it right on the head. I didn't think that it would affect me as much as it did with the cartoon, but yeah, that was. They touched on that really well.
I think one of the reasons why that is, I think it's more powerful for me now than it was when I was little, because it's not going to get dark and depressing. But Nicholas and I lost 2 grandparents last year. And when Mufasa has that moment with Simba, and he's like, if you look up into the stars, it's the kings of old are going to be there, and I'll always be there for you. And then after Mufasa dies, he runs away and is like, he was never there. He's gone. He's not here. And then he has that moment where he sees him up and he's talking to him in the sky, and he realizes, like, no, he was in me the whole time. In the past year, I've definitely had moments of, oh, my grandma's here for this, or my grandpa's here for this. You have those moments, like, yeah, they're still there. They're still in me. They're still with me.
Totally.
So it definitely, when he was, I'm going to try not to cry right now. But it does, I think it does definitely hit harder now because Nicholas and I have more of a memory to go off of now versus it just being something that we are being told that this is an emotion. This is this is now an emotion that we've physically felt.
Right, and actually, I think that's a good point to end on for that movie. Again, I would recommend it just because it's one of those things that I think needs to be seen, and it's really cool because when I think of like Donna's and I's co-worker son who's just, you know, getting into the world and experiencing all these different animals by going to the zoo, seeing this movie would be kind of impactful for him and seeing a different light. So, but you don't really need to see it in the big screen, I don't think.
No, I mean, we just saw it in regular theater, and
you could still see the details.
Yeah.
you could definitely
In
see
the
the
hairs.
detail. Yeah.
And I think you could even just wait for it to come out on a DVD, but I mean, it's still, if you like The Lion King, you like Disney, I recommend it, but if that's not what you're into, then yeah, you can take a pass on it.
Yeah, as a Disney queen, I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely tying for me for Aladdin as far as live action goes. If you're like me and you die hard Disney, and I definitely not disappointed. It was definitely a-okay for me.
Since Donna's in the car, I can't take this title. So, as a Disney princess,
I will fight you for it.
well, clearly I don't know it as much as you do, but I enjoyed it because I just went into this to take it as what it was, and it's the same as when I went into seeing Aladdin, which is my favorite Disney, and just taking it for its own merit and just kind of seeing where the movie would take me. And it did definitely take me on an emotional roller coaster, and with the detail of the animation, and
It was amazing.
And even with the little sleight hand jokes that with Timon and Pumbaa or Rafiki or Zazu, just having those little moments. I highly enjoy it, but I do also agree with Nicholas that you don't necessarily have to see it in theaters. But I highly enjoy the movie.
Well, now let's move on to the previews and what we're looking forward to seeing. Donna, which one of the trailers were you most interested in seeing when it comes out in theaters?
Like the Mulan?
You like Mulan?
Yeah, love Mulan. The way that they had the trailer definitely kind of shows that they're definitely sticking to kind of the same as the storyline, but again, like I already know that they're sticking to more of a historical part versus an actual copycat remake. So I'm really excited to see what they're gonna go with it.
Yeah, that looked like really different from, and like you mentioned earlier, how it's going to be more away from the cartoon and more historical base, which I'm ready for that ride because it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see that one too, because I love Mulan, and I have seen the second one.
Okay.
But I'm excited to see that one.
What about you, Bud? What are you looking forward to?
I'd like to see the art of racing in the rain.
Oh, yeah,
The little doggy.
the dog one with the race cars.
Yeah, it has Milo Ventimiglia from This Is Us.
Gilmore Girls. Come on.
Never watched it.
Ouch.
I don't watch This Is Us either.
Get me out of here.
But yeah, so he's in it. He ends up getting a dog or a puppy, and it's voiced by Kevin Costner, and it's just narrated through Kevin Costner and the world through his eyes, and
Amanda's in it.
Amanda Siegfried from Veronica Mars.
Mamma Mia! Come on! Mean Girls! Anything!
That was just for you.
I am hurting. I'm in pain. Get me out of here. I'll walk.
She's also in Les Mis.
I'm cringing.
But yeah, so she's in it. She plays the love interest of Milo's character. But I think it's going to be an interesting film because I don't really know what the storyline is going to be. You just know that it's kind of what those dogs movies are, like A Dog's Purpose, where it shows the relationship between the dog and his owner. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be seeing that.
Definitely.
Definitely. I have somebody who's already called it, seeing it in theaters. So it's on
Do you?
Yes, I do. It's on the to see list, no matter what. Yeah, for me, it's gonna be a little cute little animated movie. I think it's called Abominable or something like that. And it's just basically a little abominable snowman just is misplaced and finds himself in the city, and these kids try to get him back.
And he has magical powers.
Yep, definitely magical powers. And as we found out in the lobby of the theater, it's actually very furry. But anything else any of you guys want to add for this? Or I think we pretty much touched everything.
Yeah, I give it a solid 3.5 stars. Maybe 4.5.
I would go with that.
Let's
I
go
would agree.
solid 4.
Yeah.
We'll compromise and go for it.
Solid 4.
Solid
stars.
4.
But yeah, this has been the review of The Lion King for the Carpool Critics.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for joining
We
us.
had to have the Disney Queen on here. I've been Nicholas.
I'm Jessica.
I'm Donna Mae.
And Hakuna Matata.